In 2019, WeWork was worth $47 billion. It was the most valuable startup in America, a company that promised to change not just where we work, but how we live, think, and exist. 6 weeks later, the whole thing nearly collapsed. This is the story of the greatest startup implosion in modern business history, and the man at the center of it all. It started in Brooklyn in 2008. Adam Neumann, an Israeli-born entrepreneur, and Miguel McKelvey, an architect from Oregon, were working out of the same building when they had a simple but powerful idea. What if you could take a boring office building, renovate it into something beautiful, and rent it out desk by desk to freelancers and startups who couldn't afford a full office? They launched a small, eco-friendly co-working space called Green Desk. It worked. They sold it, took the profits, and went bigger. In 2010, WeWork was born. The mission was bold: create not just offices, but communities. Beautiful, energetic spaces where the next generation of entrepreneurs could build their dreams. And for a while, it looked like they were doing exactly that. WeWork grew at a speed that defied logic. By 2014, it had expanded internationally: London, Israel, and beyond. By 2015, it had 52 locations. By 2019, it had hundreds of locations across 111 cities worldwide and had become the largest private tenant in all of Manhattan. The money poured in. SoftBank, the Japanese investment giant, made its first investment in 2017, valuing WeWork at $20 billion. Over the following 2 years, SoftBank would pour more than $18.5 billion into the company. By early 2019, WeWork's valuation hit $47 billion. For context, that was more than the combined market cap of every major airline in America. But underneath the gleaming offices and the free beer and the company retreats with live music and tequila shots, the math simply did not work. Here is the fundamental problem with WeWork's business model. WeWork signed long-term leases, sometimes 10 to 15 years, on commercial real estate. Then it renovated those spaces at enormous cost. Then it rented desks and offices to members on short-term flexible contracts, often month to month. So WeWork owed landlords fixed payments for decades, but its own income could disappear overnight if members left. In 2018 alone, WeWork lost $1.9 billion. In the first half of 2019, it lost another $900 million. Revenue was growing, but losses were growing faster. When the company brought in $1, it was spending $2. And yet the story it told investors was that this was a technology company, not a real estate company. That framing justified the $47 billion valuation, and that framing was about to unravel completely. In August 2019, WeWork filed its S-1, the document required before a company can go public. It was over 350 pages long, and what investors found inside was stunning. WeWork had paid Adam Neumann $5.9 million to license the word "we," a trademark he personally owned. He had borrowed money from WeWork at favorable rates. He had sold buildings he personally owned back to WeWork as a landlord. There were more than 100 related party disclosures, meaning transactions that could personally enrich the CEO. The 30-page risk section of the filing read like a confession. Within days of the filing, the valuation collapsed from $47 billion to $20 billion to $12 billion to below $10 billion. In September 2019, Adam Neumann was forced to resign as CEO. The IPO was pulled entirely. SoftBank executed a $9.5 billion bailout just to keep the company alive, taking 80% control in the process. 2,400 employees, nearly 1/5 of the entire workforce, were laid off within weeks. WeWork limped into the pandemic in the worst possible position. The entire world stopped going to offices. Demand for co-working evaporated. WeWork still owed billions in fixed lease payments to landlords. Between 2020 and mid-2023, WeWork disclosed $11.4 billion in net losses. In August 2023, the company's own SEC filing stated that losses and negative cash flows raised substantial doubt about its ability to continue as a going concern. In November 2023, WeWork filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. A company that was once worth $47 billion had a market cap below $45 million. That is a 99.9% collapse in value. From the most celebrated startup in America to bankrupt in 4 years. WeWork's story isn't just about one man's ego or one company's greed. It's about what happens when a great idea gets buried under bad math, unchecked ambition, and investors too excited to ask hard questions. The co-working industry itself survived. Competitors like IWG actually posted a 48% surge in profit the same year WeWork went bankrupt. The idea was never the problem. The execution was. Subscribe to DataVault Studio for more breakdowns of the biggest wins and collapses in business history. The real numbers are always more interesting than the headlines.